So hi, we're about 2 blocks east of downtown Ogden. 2 blocks east of downtown Ogden. So this is one of the nicest neighborhoods in Ogden, close to the downtown area. There's some nice areas over by the mountains too, but close to here, the downtown area, this is like the nicest neighborhood. It's just 2 blocks from downtown. So here's a beautiful Victorian house. I think that's for sale for like $650. It's either $600 or $650, and it's like 6,000 square feet. Absolutely beautifully restored. And so basically, like most older cities, you know, you'll have like nice neighborhoods with Victorian houses, and most older cities like Chicago, San Francisco, you know, most older cities will have like a neighborhood with, you know, beautiful older homes that have been restored, Victorian houses that have been restored. So this is Ogden, basically, which is, here in Ogden, there's only 80,000 people. So it's a fairly small city. So this neighborhood here is fairly small, just a few square blocks of really nice Victorian houses and beautiful architecture. And these houses were built about 100 years ago. And when they were built for the wealthy people here in Ogden, like railroad tycoons, basically right around the turn of the century. That's when most of these houses were built. So that one's actually a community center. It's probably one of the nicest ones. You can't really see it because there's so much green blocking it, but hopefully you'll see it once we get over here. But that's like one of the most beautiful houses here in Ogden. That's probably one of the most beautiful ones. It's solid brick with stone. And it's absolutely beautiful on the inside, and they have like oil paintings on the inside. It's really nice on the inside. So here's another beautiful Victorian house. Those, when we moved here, those were Zillowed at like $250, right across the street. Those were actually Zillowed at $250. They're way higher now, probably like $350. And this one is being restored. It's in the process of being restored. It's actually, I think it's like 7,000 or 8,000 square feet. It's massive. I remember looking it up on Zillow. It's huge on the inside. But just to give you an idea, when we moved here, which was 2 years ago. 2 years ago we moved here, and back then, 2 years ago, even in this area, you could get like a small brick house, you know, like 1,000 square foot brick ranch in this neighborhood for under 200, like 190, just under 200 in this neighborhood. And now that brick ranch is probably like 270, 280. That just shows the insanity of how the prices have skyrocketed so much in just the last 2 years. And a lot of these really nice Victorian houses that I'm showing you, a lot of the Zillows, a lot of the prices back then, even on Realtor.com, here's another beautiful Victorian house, another really nice one. Absolutely beautiful. That one's really beautiful. That's definitely one of the nicest ones here in downtown Ogden. And so what I was saying is, with the like Realtor.com and Zillow, when we moved here, you go about half a mile from this neighborhood, and the smallest houses were like 100,000. We paid 150 something because the house we bought, solid brick with a full basement, and it's totally renovated, everything brand new roof, brand new everything basically. I mean, they just completely did everything brand new. So that's why the price was higher than the 150s. That's what we paid. But they had other ones that weren't renovated for like 110, 120. And now it's like virtually nothing is under 200. Sadly, virtually nothing's under 200. But even in this neighborhood, when we moved here, which was 2 years ago, in this neighborhood, which is approximately 5 blocks from where we live like 5 blocks from here, you could get like a small house in this neighborhood, like a small brick house for like just under 200, like 190. And now it's probably 300 or 280 or 270. So here's another nice Victorian house across the street. Can't see it because the trees block it, but hopefully once we get a little further past, you'll be able to see it. There, now you can see it better. So most of these houses have been renovated in this area. Like, see that house right there? That would have been one you could have got for like 180 right across the street, that small brick ranch. That would have been like 180 2 years ago, and now it's probably 280. And I think what I was saying earlier is the Victorian houses in this neighborhood, they were like on the realtor.com and Zillow, anywhere from like 300 to 500 back then. And now it's like there's 700. It's like disgusting. It's so sick. Hopefully, when there's the next recession, prices will go down. That's what I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping that during the next recession, the prices go down. Because hopefully what we'll do is, my goal is to like refinance once the interest rates get really low. Because right now the interest rates are like a point lower than our interest rate. And I think they're going to go down another half a point, possibly a full point. So if we could refinance, and then we could suck out like 20, 30,000 in equity, finish the basement, start renting out the basement for like 800 a month, and then start stocking away all that money, get like 10, 20, 30,000 saved up, and then do this like over the next year or two. That's a beautiful apartment building or a condo building, I'm not sure. And then if we do that, the goal would be then 3 years later, after the economy is in total recession, because we will have a nasty recession in like 2 or 3 years. And then once that happens, once the economy is in total recession, hopefully the housing is like 30-40% cheaper, and then it would be really, really cool to take that 30,000 and like use it for the down payment to like buy a duplex for like 150 and use the 30,000 as a 20% down payment, and then have 2 rental units. That would be really cool. That's what I'm hoping to do. But in order for that to work, here's another beautiful house. You know, we'd have to refi like in the next year when interest rates bottom out like at 2.5, 3% on the 30-year fix. Get a refi at 2.5, 3% for 30-year fix. Take that money, sock it away safely, wait for the recession to hit, house prices go down 30%, then buy a duplex for like, 150 with the 30,000 as a 20% down payment to avoid the PMI. That would be the way to go. So hopefully that's the goal right now. That's what I want to do. Another thing I possibly want to do is they have another neighborhood right next to the mountains, right next to the hiking trails. I'll show it to you later. They got a neighborhood there, and the house is right now like $250 in that neighborhood. But I think when the prices crash, and these are small ones in that neighborhood. These are like 1,000 square feet with unfinished basements. 1,000 square foot main level, unfinished basement, 1,000 square feet, and they're like $250. I think those prices will go down to 180, 150, and then what would be cool is to go to that neighborhood and buy a house there, and then live in that house. That will be our house because that's a really nice neighborhood. I like it a lot. I'll show it to you in a little bit. This is a beautiful brick Victorian house. It's another really nice house. And then what I hope to do is possibly buy a house in that neighborhood. It's really nice. I'll show it to you in a little bit. We're headed there right now. And it's a mile away. It's a mile away, closer to the mountains. And the goal would be, these are just like, this is what most of Ogden looks like on this side of the street. This is what most of the neighborhoods look like. And then we're gonna head over to the mountains. Head on to the mountains, but like I was saying, the goal would be buy a house closer to the mountains. It's a mile from here, a mile east. Those are the mountains, a mile east, because that neighborhood's really nice. Get a small brick house there for $250, but we would pay like $150, $180 because the prices would go down during the next recession. That's the goal anyway. Get the 30, 40,000 with the refi, save up the money, basement remodel, save up the money, and then we would live closer to the mountains in that house that we buy for like $150, $180. That would be our primary residence. And then the house we have now, we would turn it into it would be a duplex by then. It would be a duplex. And then we would have 2 rental units on the current house, that would be 2 rental units, renting off about $1,800 to $2,000 a month. And then what we would do is we would then have our primary residence would be the house by the mountains. And then the best thing about that is I calculated if we did it all right with the recession and everything the way I plan it, we suck out the equity, this mortgage payment will be around $900. All right, we save the equity, we then upgrade to the house by the mountains, get that one for $180 once the recession hits and the price goes down 20-30%. And then at that point, that mortgage payment would be about, I don't know, maybe $1,200-1,400 for the house by the mountains. Probably $1,200 actually. Yeah, probably $1,200. And then the other mortgage payment would be $900. So we'd have a mortgage payment of $2,100, but we'd be netting like $1,800 to $2,000 for the 2 rental units. And then we'd only have to pay like $200 a month to live. That's the goal. That's the goal. And then we would only have to pay $200 a month to live. Wouldn't that be awesome? You'd have 2 houses. One house would be the duplex with 2 rental units. And then the other house would be your primary residence. Total mortgage payments would be up about $2,000, $2,100, $2,200. And the duplex would rent out for $1,800, $2,000 for both units. And you would only pay like $200, $300 per month. That's all you'd have to pay, plus repair bills. You'd have to pay repair bills and stuff like that. But within like 5 years, with just small little rent increases, you'd be breaking even. You'd be paying nothing. Within 5 years, you'd be paying nothing. All you'd have to pay is maintenance, which would be like probably several hundred a month, because both of the houses are high quality. So you would only be paying about less than $500 a month for maintenance on both of them. That would be an awesome thing to do. That's hopefully what we'll do. So I've already gone 12 minutes. I'm gonna turn the camera off.